Welcome to Strength and Motion Academy. This is the 28-day challenge. So what is Strength and Motion Academy's mission? It's always been to create an inclusive community. Firstly, Josh and I have trained at other gyms for years. I've been a coach for 17 years, but I've been an athlete or done sports or done things since the day I was born mostly. So I've been in health and fitness for a very, very long time. My history comes from martial arts, where it's a lot of like, yeah, you're in the ring by yourself. However, you're there with a crew. There's people you spar with, people that you train with, that you've got to practice with and not be too egotistical with. And so because of that history, and then I got caught up in bodybuilding and powerlifting later in my years because I became a teenager boy that wanted to get the girls looking at him. So I moved into bodybuilding for a period there. And the gym was just a whole different environment. Like going from a Muay Thai gym and going from martial arts where you're fighting, but you're also working as a team, to a gym where there's mirrors and people just trying to pump up and trying to be bigger than the other dude, or women are trying to be less clothes than the other girl. No judgment. But I realized there was a lot of people that didn't feel comfortable in that space, and that's why we built SMA. But also, a lot of those people were coming to Josh and I for coaching. Just, they didn't feel comfortable with the coaches there, nor did they have a lot of coaches. A lot of those gyms were just, you pay $9 a week. We know those gyms, and there's no coaches around or available that are supporting you. And so we realized that in those gyms. So Josh and I would spend hours at the gym training, but also chatting. But I think we're also somewhat wired that way as extroverts. So we built this community to help people improve their functional health and fitness. And today's, or this whole entire 28-day challenge, is focusing on improving your habits towards a healthier and happier you. So we focus on the holistic way, functional health and fitness, and then the goal is to make you healthier and ultimately happier. Because ideally, you wanting to be healthy and fit is going to feed the positive, happier version of yourself, right? Not like the egotistical, negative part of yourself that just isn't going to love itself no matter how lean or ripped it is on the scale. We don't want to really focus on that aspect. We want to look good, but we want to make sure you're also happy and feeling good within yourself as well. And that's a big part of our mission. So what's on today's agenda? We're going to dive into the functional way, which is originally the holistic way, goal and habit setting, nutrition. Josh will do some nutrition stuff. And at the end, we're going to dive into how to navigate that app and how to collect points throughout the journey as well. That's probably one of the biggest comments and questions is like, how do I navigate this and how do I get my points in the challenge? So we will do that at the end of today as well. Cool, thank you. Yeah, I'm Navar. You all know me now, hopefully a little bit more. Yes, so Ocean and I went to Japan over Christmas. I know, how cool is that? We had a great time, but yeah, we want to just get back into life and get back into the routine and hit some good goals this year. So we'll be doing the challenge with you guys as well. So you'll see us in the points, probably ahead of you, but you'll see us there. No, I'm joking, I'm joking. Last month we got smashed. Like the October crew, like absolutely killed it. And this is the largest crew that we started this back in like 2021, maybe even earlier. COVID hit, so we had to drop it, and then we pulled it back last year. So we've done 2 already last year. We got this one for the first year, and it's gone up every single time with each month, although we've just done it twice, but each month just becoming more impressive. Like we gave away like 10 different prizes last time just because there were so many people doing so great. We didn't feel like it was possible to not give those people awards. So hopefully you guys do the same. Not for our bank accounts, but that's okay, it's worth it. We want to get people results more than anything, and that's what we're here for. Thank you for doing that, guys. So functional health, we focus on 4 different pillars. We focus on sleep, stress, nutrition, and movement. So obviously there's gym, you come into the gym, you follow the program, or you do a group class, you got your movement covered, which is awesome. Other movement stuff like walking or doing other forms of cardio, sporting stuff outside of the gym as well is encouraged, which you dive into in the challenge. But the movement side of things is pretty much like the forefront of what a gym is, right? You think about going to the gym, you exercise, easy. But let's say if you train 5 hours a week, there's 168 hours in a week. There's 163 other hours. Ideally, you're sleeping 7 to 8 hours of that, and then you only have like 2 hours to live. But that's just life, right? Because then you're working, I get it. So that's why we dive into stress and nutrition so heavily as well, because the nutrition side of things outside of the gym is going to have a massive impact on your results, especially if they're body composition based. Like if you want to lose fat, then you need to really be dialed in with your nutrition. But even from a performance side of things, you want to feel good. You want to be happy within your gut even, like you're not bloated and having digestive issues and what have you. There's so many aspects of like neurotransmitters, endorphins, what have you, coming from the gut, right? Most of our neurotransmitters come from the gut. So the food that you eat is going to impact your mood, whether you're anxious, whether you're depressed, all sorts of aspects as well. So we're big into nutrition for both of those worlds. And so you want to have that dialed in. We'll dive into that today. And then we also have the full nutrition workshop next weekend where we spend a whole 2 hours talking about nutrition because it is important. And then the stress side of things. If you're stressed, it's like the conversation around motivation. Motivation is very fleeting, especially if you're in a negative headspace. Like if you're stressed and overwhelmed, then your motivation to go to the gym is not going to be there. You're going to want to try and survive. You're going to try and grab whatever thing you could do to do nothing and escape. Whether it's alcohol, whether it's the screen, gaming. I used to be a big gamer. I love gaming still, but I try not to game too much because otherwise I'll lose my life. But I still try and game a little bit. But you want to be dialed in with your stress as well. But there's other aspects, like your stress is going to impact your ability to show up in the gym. Like even if you just get to the gym, but you're highly stressed, you're not going to breathe well in the gym, you're not going to move well in the gym, you're going to be distracted, and so how you train is not going to be as efficient and effective as it could be. All good? Cool. Does that all make sense to everyone? So we're think about like, if you're going to be spending time in the gym, I've been a coach for 17 years. I've been in gyms for a very long time. I see people that will even be in the gym every single day, but they don't have their sleep, their stress, and their nutrition dialed in. They don't go anywhere. And I get like, at least they're doing something, right? And I'm not saying give up the training, but if you want to go somewhere specifically, you need to dial in on all these 4 pillars. How that looks for you is different, right? It's different for each individual. You just want to find your edge, or maybe push that edge really deeply if you are ready. If you're ready to like send it and be disciplined and be focused, and you just got to commit. And it's not necessarily whether you feel motivated or not. You just got to get it done. And the discomfort of like doing that job and doing that work is going to bring you a reward. The discomfort of where you are now and where you want to get out of that you're trying to find motivation for, that discomfort's already present and it's not getting you anywhere. And so like that journey is going to be uncomfortable, but it's already uncomfortable anyway. Assuming you want change, right? Because normally change comes from a place of like feelings and emotions and thoughts and time. There's so many things that come into play that then creates this energy of like, oh no, I'm ready to change now. I want to change. And so if that calling is already there, then there's a discomfort of a place that you want to get away from. Or even a discomfort of the fact that you're not moving towards your own change. Because if there's a feeling and an emotion and a knowing that you want to make change, but you're not doing it, then there's discomfort in knowing you're not doing it. So you're kind of screwed. Like in reality, like self-awareness is tricky like that. So it's all land for everyone? Cool. So you're going to be really disciplined in those places because yes, you come into the gym, and as much as I want you guys to keep paying and using the gym, and then we can, whatever financial gain we may gain out of it, right? But that's not the game that we're trying to play. We want people to win. We want people to get results. That's how we get happy. That's how we gain our energy. And so if you guys aren't doing the things outside the gym, then you're not going to get those results, and then we're going to feel like we're letting you guys down. And so we're going to hopefully have those conversations with you anyway, until you tell us to fuck off, which just happens. It does happen. So you've got sleep, stress, nutrition, and movement. Statistic-wise, 60% of people abandon their resolutions within 6 months, 25% within only the first 7 days, and 42% more likely to achieve your goals if you write them down. Writing down your goals, journaling, diary goes a long way. Who has a journal or a diary or writes their thoughts or collects their thoughts one way or another? Goes a long way. Just like we could spiral in our own minds, we create this own reality, like it's all within our head, right? And so if we're not actually capturing that and writing it down and figuring out where we want to go, the likelihood of you getting where you want to be is going to be far lower. And so the adverse effect is if you were to actually write your goals down and reflect upon them and look at them, you're going to materialize that more so than if you weren't. Cool. So negative versus positive motivators as well. I hate the way that I look versus I want to feel healthy and nourished, right? I used to be an addict. I used to have a history of addiction. I worked with a lot of addicts. I'm a counselor, a hypnotherapist, NLP. I've done it all probably for myself. They say that about psychologists and what have you being the most messed up. I have a pretty messed up history. And so I had to learn a lot of those things to try and shift my mind because I felt really stuck, like impossible of moving out. My mind was so fixated on where I wanted to move out of. But our brain doesn't pick up on negatives. So if I say I don't think about a pink elephant, what's the first thing that comes to mind? you put a spotlight, a flashlight on that pink elephant. And so if you're constantly thinking about how I hate myself, I want to move out of this space, I want to quit meth, I want to quit drinking, whatever it is, you're going to keep thinking about the drink. You're caught up about the drink. Whether you're aware of it or not, the drink is guiding that. So you need to find something that you can put your spotlight on and guide it towards in the other light. That makes sense? You've got to find a spotlight or something to put the spotlight on. Something that motivates you or brings some form of energy and positivity, optimism of moving forward towards that. Otherwise, if it's not strong enough or it doesn't have any emotional charge, or if it doesn't have any purpose, it doesn't give any value, then why would you? And that's how we could get stuck. Make sense? Are your goals positively related to your inner journey? In that it's got to be related to you as well. That's the tricky one. Is kind of like, I think I created a lot of success and got out of a lot of negative spaces from a place of like negativity. And I think it did drive me a bit. The pain is certainly a driver as well. But you also, if you could have the awareness, or if you already have the awareness of where you want to be and where you want to go, your goal needs to be in alignment with that. Because if you want to be a great father, be a great mother, be a great parent, but then you just commit to doing Ironman or Iron Woman, and then you're spending like 15 hours a week training, and then that's really in conflict with how you want to be as a parent, something's going to break, if that makes sense. You also got to be realistic about how it fits into your life and how you can make that work over a long term. Because otherwise you have that yo-yo effect and you go, okay, well, I'm going to commit to this goal, but it's so out of alignment with who you are in your life that you're going to break, and then you don't follow through. You've got to think long term. These are 28 days, but ideally we'll see you for the next couple of years minimum. And then ideally, if you were to leave us, you're moving to another place and you go to another gym, or you find another facility, sporting, movement, community that allows you to look after yourself. And have a growth mindset. It's not about perfection, it's about progression. So most of you have probably done your body scans now. Cool. So you guys already know where you're currently at. It's not so much about what that piece of paper says today, it's about what it says in 28 days. And normally, what that result shows at the end, it reflects back what you've done over these 28 days. That's all. No judgment. And so it's not about perfection, it's about progression. And ideally in those 28 days, that result's changed, and hopefully it's most likely because of the behaviors and what you've done along these next 28 days, give or take. So goal setting, you want to be smart. Everyone's probably heard about SMART goals, where you want to be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. So you want to be really specific. You go, I want to lose weight. I hear it all the time. I just want to lose weight. But like, how much? For what reason? What does that look like? Maybe it's a belt change, maybe it's the clothes, maybe it's the size of the clothes that you're wearing differently. Maybe it's a scale, right? But you need to be specific. If you go, I want to lose weight, 100 grams of weight loss is weight loss. You know, like you're not telling yourself what you really want, and you're not being honest with that. So you've got to really be specific. It's got to be measurable, so whether it's measurements, photos, clothing, it's also got to be attainable. And can you actually achieve that? We've done the challenge, like I said, for many years. We did 2 last year. The guys that won, my clients. So if you're not my client, good luck. No, I'm joking. Everyone wins in the end. Just my guys win $500 though. But the guys had lost upwards of 7 to 10 kilos of fat over the 30 days, while also gaining a couple of kilos of muscle mass. So they had massive shifts, like 7%, 8% fat loss over 28 days. So it is possible. Obviously less for women, which is women get their own $500 transformation prize as well. But the women were losing about 5 kilos of fat, and they're also gaining maybe 1.5 kilos of muscle over those 28 days as well. They were normally the female winners, and they were losing about 5% body fat, which is substantial for a female over 28 days. So you can do that within 28 days, but you just want to make sure that you're actually, if you've said that I want to lose 20 kilos in these next 28 days, I'm sorry, it's not going to work. It has to be relevant, like I mentioned before. Is it relevant to you and your values? Like, are you actually going to do it? You know, be honest with yourself. Like, if you don't want to actually do it, you don't want the goal, then you're probably not going to get it. And it has to be time bound as well, 28 days, which is super easy because we've already written that out by doing the challenge itself. Then you want to write your goal in your head or a piece of paper, ideally, write it down, and it wants to be present tense. You want to write it as if it's already happened, as if it's today. Because it feels different to going, I want to be this in 28 days. It's It is February 28th, 2026. And I am now 3 kilograms lighter, sitting at 80 kilograms on the scales, feeling good and confident in my skin, clothes, and photos. I have control over my movement, nutrition, sleep, and stress. So we got like a straightforward 3 kilos. It's February 28th, 3 kilos, weighing 80 kilos. Boom, real straightforward. The end there. Add in other motivators. Like, feel free to add values on. Like, I want to lose this amount of weight, but I also want to be able to do a push-up and touch my toes. Awesome. Throw that in there. You know, I want to be able to roll out of bed and get up and tie my shoes without feeling like I'm going to break something. It's real, you know? Like, it happens. Break yourself or your bed, I don't know. Does that make sense, everyone? Cool. Habits. Does everyone know what a habit is? Cool. So a habit is a byproduct. You are a byproduct of your behaviors, but a habit is a subconscious behavior, right? Where most of the things, like, we take in millions and millions of bits of information in one singular moment. Like, in the singular moment, there's so many things that are occurring through so many different senses: feeling, touch, smell, vision, my own auditory, digital perception of what's happening within this area, right? So many million bits of information. And depending on where we act consciously and how we're feeling, our energy, the sleep we got last night, the food that we ate and how bloated, whether I'm going to feel like I'm going to shit myself in a moment, all these things impact, which I don't, by the way, just came to mind. You could have like anywhere from 5 to 9 bits of conscious information come in, right? Because consciously we're breaking down millions of bits of information to then only have a handful of conscious perceptions in our mind. We like delete, distort, generalize. Does all that make sense? And so our subconscious mind is what controls us most of the time. Because if I was to think every single time about, oh, I need to brush my teeth or drink some water, and I was to do that with every single moment in my life, it is exhausting. And that's what my ADHD feels like, and it kills me sometimes, which is why I try and meditate and look after myself, because anxiety gets wild, my ADHD gets wild because I don't look after myself. I'm now overthinking and tunneling in on everything, and it's exhausting. And so subconsciously, we have this like part of ourselves that will do that for us. Grab these clothes, get out of bed at this time, probably use a clock or a timer, an alarm. But we have these like subconscious behaviors to prevent that burnout from occurring. Does that make sense? And a lot, that drives most of our lives. Like, pretty much all of our life is how our subconscious is wired. And so what we want to do is you want to shift what habits and behaviors that you're doing now subconsciously. Whether you grab the snacks, you're at work, someone gets pizza for birthday, well, cake. Who has like lots of cake at their work? They do it every single week for every single event. It's probably the biggest thing I hear from most clients is the work environment. There's like Tim Tams and chocolates and cake. And so subconsciously, you've been there for a while, you just get used to it. You go into the lunchroom, you grab a piece of chocolate, and then you get along your day. And you do that every single day. And then you miss your lunch because you work. So your habit is you overwork at lunch break. You know, so now we've got to go, okay, what are the habits that we have that are getting in the way of the habits that we want? So if you want to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner every single day and stay away from snacks, what do you need to input as a positive habit that will override the negative? Like, if you're used to going to your lunch break, who's read Atomic Habits or know of it? Cool. Atomic Habits talks about this. Like, every single day, most of the time, we have the same sort of set of habits. Drive to work, get out of our car, walk in, drive home, open up the door. And normally that moment of open up the door sets off another signal to do the next thing. Put my keys here or do that. That makes sense? And so if we're aware that we go into the lunch break room and we eat some chocolate, what can you do before going into the lunch room that will prevent that from happening or support you not doing that? Make sense? So you're going to be really conscious and aware of what's getting in the way of you achieving the goals that you set out for yourself this month. And make sure you override those. This is 28 days, but a behavior takes on average of 66 days to become a subconscious habit. It could be anywhere, I think like the study was anywhere from like 16 days to 90 days. And the reason why it ranges so much is because if you're trying to kick the habit of alcohol or meth, well, it's going to take more than 6 days, right? But if you're trying to stop some random habit of like biting your nails that you started a week ago because, I don't know, you had something yummy on your nails and you ate it. I don't know why people eat their nails. But let's say you did that or chewed your nails or whatever. That might only take 7 days to kick the habit. And you don't have to do it anymore. Make sense? But for a lot of big things that are like the way that we eat or the way that we move or the way that we do work or whatever, most likely it's going to take anywhere of 60 to 90 days to at least get some momentum. Because in reality, we eat every day, we sleep every day, we move every day, we stress every day. And we're trying to break those pillars down and rearrange them and make them suit you better. So it takes time. So really commit to 28 days. It's only 28 days. Most of us here have a lot more days in their life. And so if you could just commit the next 28 days, ideally then look at continuing on for the next 90, then just test it, see. It's not gonna hurt you. Just like experiment with yourself a little bit. So we'll be using the Estimate app to do that. Identifying your habits. So if we dive into movement, number one, we want to be like, how many days a week would you realistically like to train? Like knowing you, let's say if you've never trained before and you come in, I'm going to train 7 days a week. And I look at you like, I've heard that one. I've heard that many times. I'd never see them again. The separation between where you've been and where you want to go, like the harder you attack that with no grounding or preparation, the quicker you will fall. So be realistic as well. Know how many days a week you would like to train, how many of them on the gym floor versus group fitness. Maybe it's like Charm Ali that wants to go out onto the gym floor. Maybe she commits 1 day a week to playing around on the gym floor. The rest of the sessions are in the gym until she gains more confident, and then she goes 2 days solo, 3 days, what have you. But she'll still commit to 4, let's say. The group fitness session's the same. And then what days and times will you be planning on coming in? Does everyone know what days and times they want to come into the gym? Cool. Most of the time that will help you succeed. Because if you go, I want to go to the gym 4 days a week, if you haven't even looked at your calendar, like it's Thursday, and you're like, oh, I only got 3 days, like, oh shit. So you want to be realistic about that as well. Like I want to train 4 or 5 days a week, or how many days? 3 days is plenty. Then you go, okay, these are the actual days and times that I can get to the gym. And then you'll also set that boundary. Because then if you have anything come up, work, family, kids, dog, cats. I love cats. I'm a weird cat guy. Don't judge me. Now I'm thinking about cats, which is very cute, okay? We want to make sure that those don't interfere. And so if you go, I'm going to train Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and the kids are like, hey, Mum, Dad, can you do this for me? You're like, nah, get out of here, I'm going to the gym. And then you just leave the kid and never come back. No, I'm kidding, go back to your kids. But the only way to set that boundary is that you're conscious and aware that that is the time and you commit to going to that time. Because trust me, if you haven't had the motivation to go to the gym, you're not just going to wake up tomorrow and have the motivation to go to the gym. So you go, I'm going to train 4 days, you just expect yourself to wake up and be like, woohoo, happy days. I'm sorry it doesn't happen. I've been training my whole life and I don't get those days very often. But I know the benefits of training, so I continue to do it because it does make me feel so much better. So make sure you have all that in mind and written down. Sleep habits, 7 hours a night minimum. We've done read lots of books, done lots of stuff, not that it really is relevant, a little bit relevant. But we did a whole entire seminar with a sleep expert who focused specifically with athletes, FIFO people, and high performers that travel a lot. And it was something that, you know, you get those people that say, oh, I could sleep less than 6 hours a night and I work great. Sorry to tell you, it's something like 0.5% of the population do have that factor. So there is, maybe you're that 0.5%, but what most likely is happening is you are legally intoxicated, right? That becomes the same delirious tremors, just like drinking alcohol. It becomes the exact same haze. So it's just like when you drink, I feel great, I could go drink drive. It's pretty much the exact same aspect of being sleepy. You're pretty much like delirious. It's generally what happens. If we start to daydream, maybe we forget whether we turn the lights on or off, can't find our keys, don't know where they are. Not saying sometimes we just have bad memory and we don't care about our keys, so that can happen. But it's a real thing. And the chances are that your 0.5% of the population that is wired that way is very, very slim. Obviously, some aspects of like what happens in our life hormonally or distractions or whatever's happening in our life can impact our sleep. So if that is, don't beat yourself up, but just be honest about that. Like these things are occurring. If you're lacking in sleep, you do hallucinate. Not in cardio. Your nutrition side, most of the time we get people to focus on and at like a quantity, so breakfast, lunch, and dinner, so those timings, and making sure they get enough protein. That's the most baseline for everyone, and that would tend to sort it out for most of us until you're at a certain position where you may be trying to get a little bit leaner and you might need to control your calories a little bit more. But normally getting like your 3 meals a day and focusing on protein as the base will be more than enough. And then you start to manipulate that a little bit more. Substances as well, that doesn't just dive into like supplements, but also whether we're drinking or having too much coffee. There's so many things that might be impacting our digestion, our mood, and our appetite. If you're drinking heaps of coffee and you're doing cocaine every single day, you're not going to be hungry. It's just the truth. I've been there. You're not very hungry. Stress. Reframing. Dropped something, I don't know, I was going to say, I dropped something on my foot the other day and it really did suck. So maybe the reframe is it made my foot stronger for when I kick someone in the elbow. Maybe. I'm pretty angry about it, to be honest. But you want to reframe, you know, like if something's happened, it's like finding the positivity, twisting it a little bit, finding the lesson out of it. It doesn't have to be all woo-woo, it doesn't have to be all positive. It can still be like, oh, that bloody sucks. I dropped a dumbbell on my foot and my foot hurts, you know. You could be real about it, but also find something out of it or reframe it or move on from it. Don't hold on. Find gratitude, regenerate, have a bath, have a sauna, go to the beach or something, go for a hike in nature, do some breath work, do some meditation, do some journaling. These are all sorts of like little things that you can just add on as tools. If you ever get to a place where you're like, screw it, I'm out, I quit, grab something, like not the bottle, not the drink, but grab a journal. Maybe write, or like go for a walk, get out of the house. Like make a list of the things that will help you in getting away from the shitty behaviors and move towards the good ones. And then sleep, set a bedtime, bed hygiene, so make sure it's cool enough in your room, make sure there's no light, make sure there's no sound, make sure your bed is comfy. Ideally have a clean room that you're sleeping in. Sleeping in a clustered room sucks. I don't know how people do it. But make sure your environment's clean enough that you're not going to be disrupted while you're sleeping. Supplements, magnesium before bed goes a long way, so maybe get a good magnesium. No phone, no screen, have a bed routine like read a book and making sure you're getting your sleep total as well. So maybe try and hit all of them, there's a lot, but maybe just focus on the one habit that will then domino the other habits. You know, like your bedtime. Maybe that would just set up a routine. I'm going to go to bed at 8 p.m. So that's my 8 p.m. sleep time. And maybe just because you're consciously going, I'm going to sleep at 8, I'm going to read a book at 7:30. You know, so try and set the main habit that's going to give you the best result and then add on top of that from there. Any questions with habits? Cool.